So you have kind of a idea that enlightenment's more of a process, not a place that you end up.
Right.
It's a process that we go
It's a
through.
process that begins where you're going. Right? A human being, to be enlightened means that I understand what's going on here. You know, I understand what it is to be enlightened, and once I'm enlightened, now what am I going to do with my experience? Where to the adolescent, enlightenment is the goal. Enlightenment is the goal, and I'm just trying to be enlightened, and whatever that means, I'm just going to be in peace and harmony and not have to worry about stuff
Almost
anymore.
framing it like heaven.
Yeah, in a
place
way,
to get.
sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
And enlightenment is a powerful position to be in, and it requires certain awarenesses for you to be enlightened and act from a place of enlightenment.
Okay.
And that's what we're mostly interested in.
So then why don't we start with the just process of enlightenment, starting off, just what is the process?
Well, oftentimes in this work, and you know, I'm going to be talking about structures and processes, and well, just to define what that is. A structure is 4 sides. So if I'm creating a structure to build onto something, an armature, I'll be talking in 4 positions, like in order to change as a structure, to recognize, to acknowledge and understand what it is I'm going through, to forgive that thing, and to make a new choice. That's a structure. Well, a process is in 7 positions. A process is something that exists on its own, has to exist in its own vibration. And a vibration is its own octave. And if you can define what that octave is, which is where humanity's moving from, I'm not going to get into this right now, but I'm just bringing it up. We are moving from essentially a cause and effect experience into a resonance causation experience. Now, once you understand the vibration, you're going to get what you want just by understanding the vibration. They've already proven 100 years ago that cause and effect is not what's happening here. They just still teach it in school. But this is resonance causation. And so if you're going to create something out of resonance, you need to understand what is the vibration that you're trying to go after, and how can I articulate that vibration, duplicate that vibration, and understand what that vibration is.
So describe a little bit for me just the difference in what you're talking about, because you're saying resonance causation versus just cause and effect. So what is cause and effect?
Cause and effect is just basically saying, this happens, and then I do this.
And it's measurable.
Yeah,
and
it's all measurable, it's all mathematical, it's logical, it's linear, it's sequential. Mm-hmm. Nothing ever goes
analysis.
Out of... Yeah, it's analysis.
Yeah.
Where resonance causation is more based in synthesis. I'm synthesizing. So in order for me to understand how something operates, how something exists, and how something has a vibration, you're going to have to learn that there's a wave pattern. And in that wave pattern, there's the 7 notes. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Starts again, right? So in that space is where things can exist.
You mean the 7 notes, there's 7 on the piano in a scale or whatever,
exactly.
Right? But there's actually 12.
Yes.
But the black keys are the
sharps
half
and flats.
Yeah, okay.
In between.
Okay.
Right? But so in a full octave, there's 12, but in a basic octave, there's 7.
7. Okay, so that's why there's 7 steps
in
enlightenment, or in any process.
Right.
7
any
steps
process.
to enlightenment. Intimacy is one you talk about.
Right.
So there's always those 7 steps because it's
7 positions.
resonance, right?
Right.
Okay.
And one leads into the other. You don't really go do to mi. It's do, re, mi, fa, sol. You walk through the progression. Once you get to the end, you have the whole octave. But you have to understand what each one of those are. You don't really, let's not have any fas in this system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's nature. It's nature going through its own course of vibration. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Often I'm going to be talking about processes. This is a process. And what that means is it's like spinning plates. Once I get the first position, okay, and then I take a second position, I take a third position, I take a fourth position, by the time I'm spinning 7 positions, I am having the reality that I want.
More complex too.
Right, exactly.
Not a simple thing.
Right, and you'll know, like, oh, I dropped this one. And a lot of times, several of those positions are going to be easy, and there might be 1 or 2 that are difficult for me, and that's the one that I need to understand. Like, hey, I know how to do all these, but when it comes to Trust, that's the one I have trouble on. So I've got to like understand. I got to get better at trusting so I can hit that note when it's time.
Yeah. Okay, so through the process of enlightenment, you have it kind of broken down. We keep looking over here because we have some notes to follow, but you have a bunch of steps that go through that resonance, and it's spontaneity, beauty.
Let's just begin at the beginning.
Okay.
First step in a process. First step is always the least amount of responsibility and the maximum amount of freedom. So if I'm going to be moving into enlightenment, I have to do things differently than I've been doing them before, because most people are acting out of a program or acting out of patterns that they're living constantly. And being an enlightened person, for one, is to be able to be in the now, be in the moment, and not the Eckhart Tolle now, but the now that I talk about being, because they're not the same. But to be present. Fully present is what you're looking for, in a sense, when you're acting from a place of enlightenment. You're not planning ahead of time. You're not thinking about what you're going to say before you say it. You're fully present to who you're doing, who you are and who you're being. You're not afraid to express yourself. You're not afraid that you can't take responsibility. You're not worried about hurting somebody's feelings, because you're not hurting people's feelings because of where you're coming from. So the first step in enlightenment is a process, is spontaneity, right? You want to learn to be spontaneous, right? And for a lot of people, spontaneity is very difficult, because that means I'm exposed, I'm vulnerable.
Yeah. Well, just use me for example. Like, for those of you who don't know me, I'm normally a media producer. I'm normally on that side of the camera. So this is my first time being on the, in front of the camera.
This is part of
talking.
The future he wants for himself.
Yeah, and it's something I want to create. I'm excited to be here, but now that I'm here, I don't have, full spontaneity, the ability to just be like totally chill. And so what's actually happening there? Like because I'm not feeling 100% present, because my mind's jumping to different things.
Well, and granted, I worked on this for a long time, so it's easier for me.
Yeah.
But you see, to be spontaneous is, at first, maybe you just, I know that this sounds like, but you've got to start somewhere, right? You've got to implement it. So at first, you've got to make a point. I'm going to be spontaneous. And maybe I'm going to do that on a daily basis from 9 in the morning to 10 in the morning. I don't look at my watch. I don't look at the plans. Maybe I even cancel plans that come up because I'm being spontaneous. And part of being spontaneous is I'm being spontaneous to allow things to come. So to allow something new to happen, to get out of my pattern, because when you make a choice to be spontaneous, what you're going to want to do is make sure that I have no agenda, no goal, no redeeming value about what I'm doing whatsoever. Now I'm in the capacity to be spontaneous, because if I just at least make a time and space to be spontaneous, at least I'm implementing now spontaneity on a daily basis. Because as you do that, you're going to start recognizing, wow, a lot of cool stuff happens when I'm not.
Well, most of my life, most of our lives, is a lot of structure.
Yeah.
I got to get up. I got this to get to. I got my job. I know what I'm doing at my job, and I get through the process of my job. Then I come home. I eat dinner. Blah blah blah. So on.
I wake up an alarm clock. It's like I haven't had an alarm clock for probably 15 years now. I mean, I may set an alarm like if I have a flight at 9 o'clock in the morning just to make sure that I don't screw it up. But I mean, I don't have a time I go to work. I don't have a time I come home from work. I don't have a time I spend on project. Some of my paintings take me way many more hours than I planned at the beginning, just because that's the way it worked out.
So is spontaneity then receptivity, connected to receptivity? Is that what you're trying to do?
Well, yes, you're trying to be open to just being illuminated by the fact that I've broken a pattern.
Because being spontaneous is open, meaning like I'm not setting a plan for maybe it's 3 hours that I pick from 1 p.m. to whatever.
Even if it's only 3 hours on Saturday.
Yeah. Then I'm just not going to have a plan. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to flow into what feels good.
That's exactly what I did at first. I started doing that on Sunday. Sunday, I'm not planning. I might wake up in the morning and go see football, and I might do that the whole season, and I might not. I just was like, Sundays are open for interpretation, whatever I want to do, and I used to, when I first started doing it, I literally would get out of bed and I would wear my boxers everywhere all day. I would put my Uggs on.
Wait, going out and about?
Yeah, I would go out. People would be like, dude, you're in your boxers. I was like, I know, they're shorts.
Oh.
My God, it was so funny back then. I was like, no, I'm like, if I lay back down on the couch.
Were you a Briefs guy? Or
yeah,
were you,
boxers. No, I would buy, and then I did buy all
Plaid?
these funny, I bought all these weird looking boxers.
Oh, okay.
Because I'd be out till 12 o'clock at night
Where were you
on
living
Sunday.
at that time?
L.A. on the beach.
Okay.
So the first thing is to be spontaneous. So that's the plate I'm spinning. I'm being spontaneous, and you want to be, because what'll happen after a while, you start realizing it's really fun to not be on a plan all the time, and the cool things do happen when I'm open to them happening. And so,
well, you know what comes with that, so I went to Burning Man, and one of the things at Burning Man is everything's an adventure, but there's not a schedule. I mean, they have a book that you can go through and look and find out what events, but when I wake up every morning at Burning Man, the day was mine. Meaning I didn't have a plan. There was no game plan of what we were going to do. So the whole day was just mine. I didn't have work. I didn't have any obligations and things that I had to go do, anything that I felt like I have to do. So it was this open space to actually just take ownership and say, okay, what kind of day do I want to have then? And so what I was able to do in that space was receive more and then have amazing adventures and all kinds of a good time. So that spontaneity is,
Well, and it takes, what you'll realize after a while is when you're being spontaneous, it up-levels your responsibility. Not the one that, part of being responsible in a spontaneous way is being willing to act, to respond to whatever's going on, right? So you start realizing you have to be more responsible. When you're being spontaneous.
Oh, because you're going to act. You're not going to hesitate.
Exactly.
You're
going to act.
and
you're act. So it teaches you to be more responsible, because most of people are being responsible with what is more defined by duty and obligation. I have to do. I'm responsible today. I got to be responsible. I'm going home early. I'm going to be responsible. That's the adolescent's version of responsibility, right? Not an enlightened person's like, I'm going to be responsible for what's going on.
I'm going to respond to my reality.
Whatever that is, spontaneously. How am I feeling? Boom, I'm responding. I'm responding by how I'm feeling and what I'm going through. So as you go through a process, the seventh step is freedom with responsibility. The first step is freedom without responsibility. It's easy to be spontaneous. I don't have any responsibility. I'm just saying I'm going to be spontaneous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So not a lot of responsibility in the old way.
In the old way of being spontaneous.
I'm going to be more responsible to my emotions and to my thoughts now, but it's a different kind of responsibility. So when I'm starting to do that, the next thing that you want to implement is I want to start being conscious of beauty.
This is the next step.
Right, because in a process, the first 4 steps in a process, if you look at a wave, when you're in that bottom is the willful position, because I move up.
Yeah.
So in a process, you're going down, I'm condensing, and then I'm expanding. So the second stage needs to be more condensed than the last one. So paying attention to beauty has to be conscious now, because most people aren't really looking around for beauty. Now I'm being spontaneous. I want to look for beauty, because beauty is, the only reason beauty is in your experience is it's to enhance your experience.
Elevate.
Yeah, it's God, Goddess's addition to enhance your experience. So if you start paying attention to beauty, you're actually starting to pay attention to how your soul and your spirit are actually communicating to you. So while you're in this spontaneous place, I'm going to start paying attention to the beauty of another. Maybe it's in nature. There's all kinds of things to look at.
Plant,
but
this environment.
Like today, I just noticed those other leaves on my plant. I was so excited because it hasn't been doing that, and now I know I'm back in. I got the rhythm of what that plant likes here in Oakland, because I bought that plant in Texas, and it was a whole different environment. I had to figure out how it thrived here. But anyway, so you start paying attention to beauty because your soul and spirit are communicating through beauty.
So you're receiving, you started with spontaneity and you started receiving more.
Right.
And now you're saying we're in more condensed space, more willful.
Where do I want to receive? From
beauty.
Beauty. Because it's there to enhance my experience. So now that I've taken this time, let me take this time to be influenced by beauty, like
savor my
to look,
foods,
look
like,
for beauty in your past. People are always looking for the crap in their past, all the shitty things that happen. You got to look for the beauty in your past. You're going to look for the beauty in your now. You're going to look for the beauty that you're imagining
creating
for
in the
yourself.
future.
So as you're in this place of beauty, now I'm not only spontaneous, but now beauty is going to have a capacity to speak to you.
Oh, I see. So spontaneity is being creative, right? Because if I'm spontaneous, if I'm not making a plan, now I got to be creative.
Yeah.
So it gets my creative juices
You don't want to be
going.
spontaneous and turn the TV on.
Yeah.
You want to engage with
my environment,
Right.
and so going for beauty is
Right.
what's going to engage me
it
more.
opens you to your soul.
Yeah.
And
So
now
more
that I don't
feeling.
have a plan, your soul can step in, because your plan, when you're in your mind and you're planning and you're configuring all the time, you're in the mental. You're not. How can I allow my higher self and my guides to come through when they're going to come through beauty? They're not going to come. They might come through the beauty of my pattern because that's all you're giving them.
Right.
But if you give them a chance to speak to you through beauty, will start impacting you.
Your love will flow through anything that you're giving it.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So if it's beauty and obligation,
it's an experience. Your love is creating the experience. Now, if I allow beauty to give me an experience, I'll have a much more deeper experience. I'll be much more touched.
Yeah.
Is a better way to say it. I'll be touched inside because my soul and my spirit are going to be being fanned in that space. Right?
Yeah.
So beauty is really important, because if I'm looking at beauty and I'm being in beauty and I start imagining beauty for myself, you will start altering your measuring devices, and that's what it's all about in the first place. Because if in pattern, I'm utilizing my measuring devices to stay disconnected.
And what are the measuring devices? Just
Well, your senses. The way that you're calibrated to see experience, right? Like, I'm not really looking at beauty. I got shit to do. I'm not really opening. Now that I'm open to being spontaneous, I can allow things to impact me. And if I open to beauty, I'm allowing very specific things to impact me that I'm normally not while I'm in pattern.
And beauty's going to enhance everything.
Yes.
And so then it's going to lead to wanting more, right?
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Because the wanting of
It ought.
more is going to take us deeper into the cycle, right?
Right, exactly. So as I'm open to spontaneity, as I'm looking through beauty, looking for beauty while I'm here, I'm looking for beauty. It's like I'm often touched during the day and I cry. It's like I cry all the time now. And most of the time it's because I'm seeing something beautiful.
Right.
You know, I'm seeing nature, or I'm seeing my son and my wife together, or I'm seeing the way somebody opens to me in a way that touches me, and I realize, oh man, there's so much beauty around all the time, and it's like so many are missing it because I'm busy. I got shit to do all day.
Obligation,
right, what you've done, you've created all these patterns really to keep you away. You don't realize that's part of what patterns are there for, to keep you focused, to keep you narrow-minded, to keep you from feeling. This is why it's so hard for people to be spontaneous, because
I want the pattern because I don't want to feel.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Right, I've separated from my
the
feelings.
pattern, I know what I'm going to
Yeah.
feel, how I'm going to feel it,
know what I'm
when I'm
getting.
going to feel it.
Yeah.
And this is how I do it, right? So being an awakened person, moving into alignment, is starting to recognize that this is all me right now. And if I nurture it and I look at it from a different set of measuring, it's going to start showing up differently to me. So that time of beauty is very important, because later you'll be doing it all the time, but at the beginning I have to start a process. I have to understand how to play this song.
Yeah.
And then later you don't really have to think about it.
It also engages your emotions in too, right? Because if I'm going off my schedule, duty, obligation, I'm doing my job, I could go through a whole day without feeling pretty much. Right? Not feeling much
Not
anyway.
feeling any more than you did yesterday, and the day before, and the day
this
before.
is good enough, right?
Yeah.
I don't got to feel too intense here. If I stick with this, that's good. So
it's a way to regulate your emotionality. That's what a pattern. Your pattern is either going to expand my emotionality or it's going to limit my emotionality, because that's all a person who's not awake is able to do.
So beauty, when I go for more beauty, I become more emotional, which gives me more fuel, right? Because the emotionality is my fuel. It's on, like you were telling me, my breath in a way.
But it's an emotionality that stems from your soul and spirit now. Because they talk to you through nature. They talk to you through beauty. And so when you open to more of it, like consciously, now I'm saying I'm consciously going to pay attention to beauty while I'm being spontaneous.
Yeah.
Now anything can happen, and things will likely happen.
Yeah.
The more you do it, I absolutely guarantee new and interesting things are going to happen. It may happen on the first time and it may not, but it will happen.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. When I first started doing this, like the job I went on, with that company I went and shot with, like I started implementing some of these tools, and it was just like bang, bang, bang. Something was just always happening, and I wasn't. Normally, I go on a job. I'm a media producer, and I got my cameras and do all this stuff. But in this scenario, as I've been using these tools, it's been a lot more flow, just a lot more feeling. You know what I mean? So yeah. And the feeling is actually one, if you're looking at it as a half pipe, if I'm in spontaneity and I'm looking for more beauty and I'm enhancing my life and going for more beauty and having more emotionality, that's going to be the fuel for when I get down to the willful position. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. You're condensing. You're taking more responsibility. So after beauty, you want to engage consciously hope, right? And here's another thing. Most people, I still to this day don't even have a definition for what people do with hope. It's like, I hope that happens. I mean, I'm hoping.
I'm hopeful. We're hopeful.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. That's not hope. You see, and that's a big misconception about hope. Hope is a very willful experience. It's very willful and it's very defined. And so hope is a synergy between two different experiences, internal experiences, and that is expectation and anticipation. And again, we use these words interchangeably, but they're not really the same word. Expectation, and in Latin, is to see outside myself. Ex, outside, to see outside myself, which is your future. I'm expecting something out in front of me that I can see. Anticipation is a knowing that I'm going to have that thing. So hope is really having it what I want and knowing I'm going to get it and holding that space. Oftentimes I'll say, when you see a cat hunt, not only is that a function of patience, it's also a function of hope. The cat is expecting to get what it wants, and it really is waiting for the moment to happen.
So hope is actually very willful.
It's very willful. It is not a, I hope that happens.
See that?
That's the thing. Like, hope is not a last resort.
Yeah. That's a victim. That's a victim hope.
Right.
That's actually a negative expectation, then, right? That most people say, "Oh,
well,
I
it's
hope
not
it
a
turns out
negative.
okay."
It's just nothing. That's why I say I don't have a definition for it. It's not really negative, but there's no substance.
There's no power
to it.
in it.
Yeah, there's no substance to. I hope. I mean, most people really hope as a last resort. I don't know what to do now, so all I can do is hope.
I
hope.
used to say that. I used to say, I hope it turns out. We'll see.
Yeah, it's like,
no
we'll see what?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Then you're not in hope.
Yeah.
Because if you ask somebody, what are you hoping? I'm hoping that they're going to be healthy, and I'm hoping they come back from the hospital on Monday. That's
willful hope.
That's what I'm doing.
And that's with the feeling of what you're going for, the expectation of what you want.
Exactly. That's
or actually
hope.
Anticipation.
So, yeah, anticipation and expectation combined create what is hope. Because in hope, there's a mystery and a dynamism that gets created out of expectation and anticipation. There's a dynamism because you're like, that's coming. It's coming, and I know it's coming, and I have a very clear vision of what it is that I want.
So explain that again. The anticipation is the knowing I'm going to get what I want.
Yeah, the expectation is seeing what it is I want.
Okay.
And the anticipation is knowing I'm going to get what I want. You see, so not only is it that vision in the future that I've got to have, that I know it's coming, and I'm holding that. And so you have to stay present. You have to stay conscious.
The hope that you're feeling is an uplift. It's like an uplifting hope
right.
that's going to be like...
It's a dynamism.
It's propelling you towards it.
Well, it's knowing that I'm creating it and it's coming.
Okay. Because it's not certain, so that's why it's called hope, right?
Well, it's certain because I'm expecting it and anticipating it. That's what it is. It's certain by my own account. By everything I could do inside, it's certain.
Not because I calculated all the steps.
Exactly. No, just because that's what I expect, and that's what I'm anticipating. Being conscious is I'm the writer, I'm the actor, I'm the director, I'm the producer, I'm the plot. I'm the ending.
Same thing for me coming on camera,
Yeah.
right? My expectations, the reason why I get nervous or scared is because I have some sort of negative expectation, right? So I'm not coming with that willful hope of what it is that I want to create.
Right. It's not clear.
Yeah.
It's not clear. And so after hope, the thing that's in the most dense is the duality. I have to come to grips with the duality as a function of me. I'm not separate from this experience. I'm not separated. It's an illusion of separation to be in a duality.
And the duality is at the lowest base of the waveform,
Right, exactly.
So it's the most willful position.
It's the most place that I need to be willful about. Like, this is a reflection of my unconscious mind. It's a reflection of my imagination, my set of beliefs, what's in my subconscious, what's in my unconscious, and it's mine.
So why does duality come after hope? Why is it there at the willful position?
Because you have to be willful about that. It's real easy to go, like, oh, my dad, he's going to die. And you're like, where did you just go?
Yeah.
Where did you, it takes, this is my experience. I'm the one in charge of this experience.
Right.
That's what enlightenment is to know I'm in charge. So the hardest part to do is be in charge. To recognize this is all me. I'm not separated from it. As I look, it's an illusion of separation. This is a universe of free will.
So the willful thing, so I get hit by a car driving on the freeway. Someone runs into me, it's their fault, no big deal. That's not the willful position, right? That's me playing as if I'm separate from my reality. And this person hit me, their fault, you know.
And that's when you go into blame.
Right.
And you go into this whole thing. That this happened because of this and because of that, and they don't have insurance, and now I'm screwed. I gotta, and on and on and on, instead of recognizing that, why did this happen? I mean, I don't want to get into that example too much, but you're only here to see and discover yourself. And this is all you. It's all you. Like when I died, I recognized when I left the physical experience turned back into a realm of possibility. There was no universe. There were no people here. There was nothing. Until I dip in, and then it turns into something. And I dip out, it goes back to the state of possibility. Because as we know in physics, quantum physics, it's the observer. It's the observer who, nothing happens unless there's an observer. That's what Schrodinger's cat, the experiment is all about. Is the cat dead or alive? Depends on what's observed.
Wait, what's I know the double slit experiment, but I don't know.
Well, Schrodinger's cat, there's a cat in a box and they say, is the cat dead or alive? The cat's both. It's both dead and alive. You haven't observed it yet. As soon as you open the box, is it dead or alive? It's dead. Well, that's because you saw that it's dead, right? So you are the observer. So it's like you are the person observing all this. And so enlightenment is understanding that I am observing this. And once you get that, this is an observation that I'm in, and it's a function of my own measuring devices. If I can't learn how to calibrate those measuring devices, how can I see something else? And my belief structure, my subconscious, my unconscious are all loose. I, with choice, decide how to calibrate, how I see, how I function in the experience.
So in duality, being in that willful position, the reason it's willful position is because it's the recognition of the illusion of duality,
it's
right?
an illusion of duality. You're not separate. You couldn't be separated if you wanted to be. But see, we act like it's all not us. We act like the people on the right are the idiots. The people on the left are the idiots. The Black Lives Matter. No, white lives matter.
Women,
it's
men.
all the same thing.
Yeah.
It's all you. It's just many aspects to you to learn about yourself. For you to see yourself. You're so complex that it's that complex who you are. You're all 8 million different personalities existing right now on the planet. Of course, you can't interact with those, but that's going on. There's 8 million other facets of me out there right now.
So in that position, I'm taking
8 billion.
Full responsibility. Because if this is not an illusion and I'm creating all this is an extension of me, it's mine to take that powerful position of responsibility with.
Right. So the duality, that's the most dense part. Physical reality is the end of equation. In my imagination, I create, and what I'm trying to do is take the more real and bring it into an illusion. When you're in your mind and imagine, that's more real than this.
I see.
So you're bringing an illusion a reality into an illusion.
And then receive.
Like And I mean, of course, you hear this, you have to wake, this is a dream and you have to wake up. Yeah, just like lucid dreaming. If you learn lucid dreaming, basically you're going in the dream, being conscious of the dream and directing the dream. The same thing you're doing here. You realize this is all me and I have to be conscious of this dream and I can direct this dream, but I do it from the inside, not with control. That's why enlightenment is letting go of control. Not letting go of it, whatever the universe wants. The universe is just mirroring
Yeah,
you.
because a lot of people say that as, oh, I'm just flowing with life right now.
Yeah, no,
Right,
you're not. You're going downstream and banging into rocks and banging into going off waterfalls and all kinds of stuff because you're not really directing yourself.
And that's an actual form of, to say, oh, I'm just going to let go and flow is actually a form of control sometimes, right? Because I'm not taking responsibility.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's an attempt to let go of control.
Adolescence.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you let go of control. You just let it all go, man.
See what the universe brings.
Yeah, and so it brings you the same things it was bringing you before.
Right.
You know, you'll be all results. You'll end up having the same result. Now I live in a trailer and I'm free, but now someone broke into my car or hit my trailer or my trailer caught on fire and now I need a GoFundMe thing to help me, you know, and on and on and on. You're still the same person. You just create with a different set of circumstances. So you have to like work with the duality. You have to understand this is me. This is all me. It's all a figmentation of my unconscious mind. Unless I'm conscious of it, now it's part of my conscious mind, which means I can actually direct it.
Because you chose it in the willful position of duality, you chose to make that decision to take that responsibility.
So waking up in the dream, you know, and what you're doing is at that time, you see, the way something structures itself in physical reality is because you've created emotional and mental significance, and therefore it takes shape. When you do this stuff, you're blurring the boundaries between things, which makes it easier to manipulate the reality and manipulate in the positive sense of the word, like to be able to restructure. I can't have hard boundaries. I can't. That's the way it is, and it's the only way. That's a hard stop. Very hard to change when you feel that intensely and think that hardcore about what it is you want.
This is the way life.
Right. Now when you know it's you, it blurs that boundary because you're like, well, that's me because I'm saying so. Well, maybe I need to remove some significance from this idea so I could change it. That's why people that are really like intense, you need to lighten up. Exactly. Too much matter needs light. Someone can be very light and flaky, and you have to say, dude, you need to ground.
Flipping all over
you need to ground because I need to make things matter is what that really means. In conscious reality,
give it more,
significance. Give it greater significance. So now that I'm spontaneous, I'm open to beauty, I'm conscious of hope, and I'm having hope, and I know this is a duality, and I'm blurring those boundaries, the next thing I'm going to move into is conscious and unconscious presence. Because now I'm present to myself. I'm present that this is me.
This is me, so I'm more present than I've ever been.
Yeah, how can I be dissing on the things that are in my unconscious mind? How can I be dissing women or blacks or whites or whoever I'm dissing? I'm not understanding.
I'm just separating from myself in that way, right?
Exactly. And so that's why hope is connected to this aspect, right? You have the duality at the bottom and you have the conscious of hope. Well, if I'm got this and I'm hoping what I want to come out and I'm this, then I have to be conscious of my unconscious. I'd start being conscious because my unconscious is going to tell me how I'm not aligned with that. In the unconscious, because nature and the planets are following a big unconscious pattern. They're always doing things. They're always expanding. So nature is going to lead me to that. You see, because in nature, since nature is following this harmonious structure, constantly going around and doing its springtime and summertime and fall, and it's going through this system, you are too going through that system, and that system could help you. So if I'm open, I want to be closer to nature while I open to my unconscious mind, because the first place your unconscious mind is going to communicate to you is through the patterns of nature, because they're the deepest, most bass drum pattern that you have. So you want to open up to that unconscious, realizing that nature is part of my unconscious mind. And so I'm going to open up to nature and how is nature operating around me. Start paying attention, like take care of a plant and really try to understand what does this plant need, like, because plants take so long to react to the problem. By the time they're having a problem, they're deep in the problem if you really weren't paying attention and realize, wow, that was a nice looking leaf yesterday and now it's not. Like,
funky.
It's just a brown leaf, whatever. And before you know it, you've got 8 brown leaves and 10, now you're like, what's happening? My plant's dying. And now you got to kick it back and figure out what it's doing before it dies. And in the meantime, it takes a long time for it to grow new leaves and come back because you weren't paying attention, reacting to it quicker. And nature's like that, right, to be responding to the environment. Plus, it's also because beauty is in that dynamic, and so is nature. Nature being part of my unconscious mind. To know this is an expression of my unconscious mind, I want to pay more attention to nature.
Well, I mean, like we pay attention, if you live in a family, you got your family unit, and your family unit is what's orbiting around you all the time. And it's easy to pay attention to that, right?
Well, it's because you made it intimate.
Right. So you want to be intimate. What you're saying is be intimate with nature, be intimate with the planets, be intimate with...
Because I'm going to be opening to be intimate with my unconscious presence. Because if I open up to these bass drum vibrations, and I'm opening myself consciously to that, it's going to communicate to me more because now I've made a choice. Hey, here's the bass drum. It's like turning the bass down on a song and just listening to the treble. You're like, I hear the bass under there.
Tinny up here.
Right, it's up here, it's up here, it's up here. Like, I want to get in touch with the bass line. I have to get in touch with nature, knowing nature is my bass drum. What we're not doing right now is realizing we're all worried about climate change and everything else and not understanding that all we have to do is nurture nature, and nature will solve this problem for us. Because that's what it does.
It's the foundation for everything else.
Exactly. That's why now they're finding fungus that eats plastic. Wow, how about that? That's just nature moving through. You added a bunch of plastic to nature, nature's going to synthesize the plastic. It's not going to be like, ooh, I don't like plastic. He's just going to say, oh, plastic. Well, we have to incorporate plastic now, so here's how we do it. Mushrooms are the baseline. This is why mushrooms can change you when you go on a journey. You're going back to nature and going to the nature before trees, before the first real thing, fungus, that's growing, in the dark, in the shit, in the depth, right? You're going back, right? You're going back, and so the most dense thing is already showing us a solution.
Significance, right?
Right. So you want to be open to nature. You want to be open to and knowing that nature is a reflection of my unconscious mind, that rhythm that's just going all the time. And if I can get in that vibration again, I can allow that to change me. Right?
Day, night,
week, I can allow
sun, moon, all that.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Seasons.
Yeah.
People know, eat to the season or do this or do with that. They kind of know a lot of stuff, but they don't know why. They don't know why they need to do that because I'm getting in touch with my unconscious.
My own
in order to shift this, I need to take greater responsibility. That means I have to uncover what's going on in my unconscious mind because it'll be, well, you're not conscious. If it's your unconscious, you're not conscious. Ha, ha, ha. That's the negative ego trying to say, no, you with a conscious being can choose to be more conscious for that unconscious mind. And if I watch how nature and I relate, it will tell me what's going on. If I'm open to
what about something like your heartbeat? Because isn't that it's your beat, right? So this is kind of a foundational place for you.
Yeah. But it speeds up the moment you inhale.
Take more breath.
Yeah, because the inhale represents
exercise.
wind, represents responsibility, and so your body quickens in anticipation of what it is you're about to do. That's why the body speeds up when you breathe in. It's quickening because just like my little baby, as soon as he gets in, he just starts pumping it up and then, I'm like, oh shit, he's breathing. Just stop now. What's going on? And as soon as I hear them take a first intense breath, because they'll pump it up, and if you're not paying attention, by the time they pump 4 or 5 breaths in it, they work their whole system up to let you know that.
So the way your heart, just like that, the way your heart is pumping, right? And then you take more breaths and it starts quickening the pace. The same thing is when you're saying when we align with nature, everything's a breath, everything's a cycle, right? The sun up, sun down's a breath, the moon, day from night, the planets, all that stuff is a different breath. So when we start aligning with that, we're breathing more basically, right?
Well, yeah, you're breathing in alignment with something unconscious. So the breathing can be much more powerful.
And it quickens our growth. Then
right, exactly. That, right? And that's you just getting in touch, like, oh, this is my spirit and my soul wanting to be here. This is like why people for me, it used to be, I literally would be walking down the street and I would feel my internal go snap, and I was like, God, I want to have sex like now. And it was springtime, and I started to realize it's spring. It's like spring sprung, and all of a sudden I literally would just feel myself go, and I'm like, oh, I want to have sex, man. And it would be like I would feel it and I would feel it in wintertime just all of a sudden diminish. I'd be like, oh, that's it, I'm done.
No more
I mean, I'm having sex, but not like with the intensity that I was.
Yeah.
And I could feel it sexually all the time. Like, oh, it's time to slow down, and okay, it's all good, you know.
Yeah.
And it's funny because everybody covers up. Everybody covers up, and there's not a lot of sexuality, you know. But springtime comes, and all of a sudden it's like, you know, everything's open again.
Flowers
and
bloom.
shorts are coming out, mini dresses and everything, you know. And you're looking at yourself different in the mirror, and you know, you're coming out of that winter.
Getting out in the sun, getting a tan, going to the beach.
So so now that you come out of that duality and you're taking greater responsibility and saying, look, I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to pay attention to I'm going to try to bring what's unconscious conscious, and the easiest way to do that is what's in nature, what's going on. Like, how many people know if I'm just not feeling, I go on a hike and I just feel better when I get back. You know, or I go out to the ocean and I just sit there. And you know, the elements are exalted when you sit in the ocean. The earth is hitting the water, the air, and the sun. There's nothing. You're just looking at the 4 basic elements and kicking it, and you feel better when you leave. Because you're getting in touch with that unconscious presence. That what it can do to you is just ground you back into what's going on.
Well, we are the elements, right? And we have all the elements in us, in our bodies, and we're the ones creating the reality. So when I go to the beach, what you're saying is exalting all the elements, meaning I'm now in tune with all of them. And it's more in balance,
you can choose
right?
to be. Yeah, you can choose to be. And that's, if you go there and just choose to be, then
it does a whole
it does a whole different thing. Than, you know, even if someone goes to the beach and they're like, I just feel better. They're not even conscious, but if they're like, I know it makes me feel better, and I know what I'm doing. I'm getting in touch with the elements. I'm going to feel the water. I'm going to touch the water. I'm going to feel the wind in a different way. Like, where's the wind coming from? I think about this, and I feel a gust of wind to the right. When I was thinking about that, well, that could tell me I need to be more responsible right now because it's wind that I recognized while I was thinking. And it came from the right, so I have to be more responsible with my action. Maybe it came from the left. I'd be more responsible with my receiving. It's like the answers would be there, but you have to learn to be present to the unconscious mind. Like for me, I'm doing that. Like when I'm in sessions and I hear something or a bird hits the window or something, I'm like, well, this is important. I'm incorporating all that into the reading while I'm talking to someone. I'm doing that, and that's why I like talking to somebody better when I'm on camera.
Oh, that's great. I didn't even know. So when I did sessions with you, you're like feeling what's
happening,
all the symbols of what's happening around me.
Exactly.
And as soon as a symbol shows up and it's something notable or significant, then I know something just happened with
Right. It's important. Otherwise, you wouldn't be creating something important to happen.
Right.
You're trying to tell yourself something, and you're telling yourself something with the form. The form is the end result of the illusion. That's why you don't want to control. I don't want to control form. Let me move. It's like you're not understanding what you're here to do.
Yeah.
Right? So out of that, you move into illumination, because now I'm being illuminated. I'm opening to my desires, and how am I seeing them in the environment? How am I conscious of what I'm creating, and what I'm expecting, what am I anticipating, what am I feeling, what occurred? You see, each step in this process gets more significant and more significant. You just don't go, I'm just going to go right over to illumination now. Well, if you haven't gone through the system, illuminate what? What did I notice? What am I paying attention to? How do I know? Right? It's like you know by the fact that I got into this. So if I take my time to be spontaneous, and I open to beauty, and I open to conscious and hope, and I open to the divinity of the duality, and then I open to the unconscious presence, and now I open to being illuminated by this sense of presence. Now I'm enlightened.
And you're going to illuminate everything around you.
Yeah, and I'm going to be choosing, oh, that happened. What does that say? How do I want to react? Not like, wow, I was like just kicking it and this bird hit the window, man. I was like, was the bird okay? I don't know. What color was the bird? I think it was yellow. Like, all that matters. What kind of bird? What direction did it hit from? I mean, people they're not illuminating. They're not looking at unconscious mind to figure out, what am I trying to say to myself.
So when you're illuminating, you're talking about looking at everything how you would almost interpret a dream in symbol, right?
Yeah, well, to understand, you're getting whatever you're emotionally intense about. If you're in this process, you're going to see, you're going to feel. Because if I'm intense about my fears, I'm in a fear state and I'm creating the reality that the world is falling apart. It's going to shit. If we don't stop doing what we're doing right now, it's over. And I hate everybody who's driving cars and not eating vegan and not understanding what's happening with those animals. Instead of like taking that meat and eat that meat and love that animal right now. Love that animal died for you and love that that animal's nurturing you. You don't have to worry about what happened before now. It matters what I'm doing with this thing.
Right.
Just like they're not paying attention to the way, how was this carrot harvested? We just ripped out of the ground, thrown in a bucket. Well, how's that any different than taking the cow, shoving it down a chute, slitting his throat, and not doing it respectfully? There really isn't any different, but they think because the carrot's not making any noise, when they've already proven they can put electrical devices on plants, and when you go to approach a rose bush with scissors, it starts reacting because it knows you're coming. It does know.
But you know you're connected.
Yeah.
You know you're coming, right? So you're creating that, right?
Yeah, if you know I'm coming to make you more beautiful than you were.
So
that's why you're pruning it, to make it more beautiful than it was. Your human interaction is creating that I, as a God being, can make this more beautiful than it was. And most people are like, well, I don't want to interfere. I don't want to. You're not here for that. The rose isn't afraid to interfere with your sewage system or your window view or anything else.
Right.
It's not wondering what
it's just here to be a rose.
Yeah, it's not interfering. The weeds aren't interfering with each other.
They're just here to be what they are.
Yeah, and they make room for each other.
Yeah.
Or they don't. But the thing is, if they're not, it's nothing bad that the weed overtook the rose. That rose is probably done and allowing the weed to take me out, dude. I'm out. I'm done. Right. It's like, you see, that we're not thinking enough. We're not bringing our unconscious presence. Not being presence of what we're consciously thinking, to know what I'm thinking, to know why I'm making this space every week, to be spontaneous and to do these things, to do this process. Because that process is going to make you're going to want to do it more. Enlightenment is a place that opens up the God beingness of who you're not a place to go. That opens your whole life after you recognize. Once you recognize what I'm talking about is when now your reality experience starts.
And so a process is continuous, right?
Yes.
So it's not like, the adolescent's view is,
no, you have to keep spinning those 7 plates.
I'll get to enlightenment and I'm there.
Exactly.
And then we just
That's the adolescent.
I'm here. And
I'm enlightened. I wear white clothes. I never get upset. An enlightened person has 100% freedom emotionally, all emotions in all their intensity. Because if I'm creating reality, and like somebody said this once, like, oh, this child falls in the pool, it's not my reality, it's not mine, interfere. But the child fell in the pool in front of you.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it? Who are you? What am I acting from?
That just happened to me on 4th of July. It was the day before 4th of July. I was headed home, and there was a dog running down the road, and I knew he's freaked out from the fireworks because they were going off everywhere. And I thought I was just going to drive by the dog, but I was like, that dog came. There was no other cars on the road. Right. No one was going to do anything. I knew he was freaked out. Owner's probably looking for him, so I was like, that dog came into my space.
Yeah.
So this is my responsibility, right? So I pulled over, tried to get the dog, tried to find his
collar.
collar.
Well, it's a responsibility that I'm willing to take.
Exactly.
Not yours.
Yeah.
A lot of people pick up the dog, oh my God, it's my responsibility. Right? And they're almost like, oh, now I got to find the dog, and all worried. And, instead of going, oh, let me help you.
Yeah.
Come here. Let me help you. I'll find your owner. I'll help, like to take
get you home,
give that dog that sense of security and safety that it lost.
Yeah.
That's what an enlightened person knows. You need safety and security.
If it's in my
reality,
it's mine, and it's I created it. So there's a dog running lost down the road.
What does a dog represent? A dog represents joy. So my joy. What if 4th of July? You're supposed to be celebrating freedom.
The dog was afraid.
Yeah, exactly.
On the opposite, running.
Yeah. It's like, so you, in being more conscious, you go, let me take the metaphors apart because it's an illusion that I'm playing. So what is the metaphor of that dog? What color was the dog? How big was the dog? Where was the dog running?
Yeah.
The more you take it apart, the more information you get, and you know how to respond now to the dog. And what was the dog trying to teach me?
And so then the dog, because the dog kept running from me. He kept kept trying to get away from me. So if I had been even more conscious to notice those things, I could have
notice
approached
them in
him.
yourself.
Yeah, and so I could have approached him and actually connected with him and not have him run away potentially, right?
Well, the dog's still teaching you. You stop to teach the dog, and the dog's still scared. It's like in essence, you want to find that fear in yourself and find it and go, I know. Because you see, no two things can exist in the physical reality at the same time. If you find the right emotion that you're creating that experience, you will alter that experience when you found it. So it isn't to chase the dog. It's to try to find that feeling inside while I interact with the dog. And when the dog comes to me, I know that I just did it. I know. And if you don't do it, okay, the dog runs away. You tried, and you're better understanding conscious, bringing the unconscious, even just trying.
Yeah.
You're also gaining self-esteem by trying.
Well, yeah, I knew. I was like, I'm going to take responsibility and go try to help this dog. He kept running, so I was like, damn. So I got him off the highway and got him up some road, and I tried to get him. I couldn't get him. He went off some bushes, so I went home at that point. But when I got home, I recognized the symbol. I was like, I'm in a state of running.
Yeah.
Like this was what it brought to me, because
from your
joy.
joy.
And it was literally in a state of running because I knew I was going to be coming on camera and like all this stuff was coming.
From your joy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The dog.
Dogs represent joy. Hummingbirds represent joy. They also represent chaos. The black dog specifically represents chaos.
Why chaos?
Because dogs rip shit up, man. They go after what they want. If they like what's going on, they'll dig a hole. They don't care it's your plant. They don't care that you've been...
Give them shit on your lawn.
The thing is, I think they're trying to help with that. That's a whole other conversation.
Fertilize the...
But the thing about it is they represent joy. When you come home, they're so into it, right? You're going to feed them, my food. Give me a snack. They're enjoying themselves, and they represent joy. Right?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
But it's so true.
And that's why people get nervous around a dog. Is it going to jump on me? Is it going to bite me? What's it going to do?
Joy and chaos.
Yeah, it's hard to know what the dog's going to do, and it makes certain people nervous.
Oh, so when you say, chaos comes before change,
right?
You're basically saying the change is joy. You're going for your joy.
Well, that's what that's telling you. That metaphor is saying, I'm running from joy. And I'm thinking it's about safety and security. Because the dog's running on 4th of July. Down the road.
From the fireworks, the thing,
opposite direction, right?
Yeah.
You keep taking it apart, and then you start going, oh my God, that's so me right now. But see, people are separated. This is why you have to work with the duality all the time. You're not separate from experience. That's you. That dog is you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe you choose, I'd love to help the dog. Okay, if I'm driving, you can drive by and imagine. I'm imagining that the dog's fine, it doesn't get hit by. You can still respond. Responsibility isn't if, it's when. So you're like, I'm going to imagine, even though I don't have the ability to respond in that way, I can imagine that dog's fine. Just like eating the meat. If this thing went through a terrible time, that's still the animal sitting right there. Respond to the animal. Yeah. Because love overpowers any negativity. It's not equal. Positive and negative are equal. They wash each other out. No. Let me say, if I had 5 positive units and 5 negative units, which one would you want? This is still better than this.
Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't really work that way. But the logical, linear mind is coming to say, no, all you got to do is sit there and go, I'm going to take responsibility now. I'm going to picture that the owners are just finding that dog in a minute, and the dog's so happy to jump in the car, and he goes home, and it's all good. And I close. End of scene.
See what I did? I got out, and I was trying to force the dog.
Get in here!
Go for your joy! That's how I've approached a lot of myself. I got to go for what I want, but it's kind of this hard edge, and that's exactly, because I even cut him off. He was trying to get away, and I cut him off.
I actually ran over the dog, had to take him to the vet, fix his leg, and then I found out he was chipped, and then I found his owner.
After I broke his leg.
Exactly. It's just, that's why when you do start doing this, and you do start finding, and all of a sudden, let's say that happened, that I recognized the dog, and I found it, and I recognized what's going on, and the dog just got in the car.
That's what I was hoping.
It's so magical. You are a magician now, and that's what everybody knows. That's why everybody likes Gandalf, because underneath that's you.
Yeah.
You just are not awake to it yet. So it looks like a guy in a movie, but it's really, that's the aspect of you trying to tell yourself you are that wise man. You are that being that can do anything you want. It just looks fun in the cartoon because the only person inside of you that can relate to that is the magical child. The child in me knows that Gandalf is badass.
Yeah. And I'm Gandalf.
Right, and so that's still in my unconscious mind, creating Gandalf now in a movie. Instead of me really learning it, I'm Gandalf, right? It's like to really understand. So enlightenment is having full resources, full usage to who I am at any given moment, and being able to respond from there. The last thing you want to notice is in enlightenment, when you know this is all me and it's a reflection of me and I'm engrossed in learning and wanting to change and wanting to be a more powerful presence, more powerful vibration, more powerful influence on this illusion, what I have to do is move past need. Maslow's hierarchy of need is what you move out of in alignment. That's why I think the top is self-realization at the top.
So you're moving past need to preference?
No, not need. That's preferences and needs aren't anything alike.
But when
needs are, I have security, I have a building, I have food, I have all my basic needs, I belong somewhere, you know, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Those are needs. You don't need, you've already got that. You can provide food for yourself. Even if you're homeless, you still got your tent, you still got people giving you money for food, you still are, your needs are met. Maybe your needs are not living your preferences because you're only going for need. All I think I can handle.
As long as my needs are met.
Yeah. So enlightenment is recognize my needs are met. I belong somewhere. I belong to myself. I have food. I don't have to eat. I don't have to stock up and have 10 years of food in my basement because I'm worried about the big day coming.
Huge savings in my account.
My needs are met.
Yeah.
I have those needs met. It's recognizing my needs are met and I want to move beyond my need into the realm of preference.
And live the
and
way
if you
that I
don't
want.
know, if you don't have a set of values, you don't even know what your preferences are. So you stay in need. You stay in the need. So an enlightened person recognizes that my needs are met. They're good enough.
Yeah.
You know, have I starved yet? No. You know, it's like me fasting. It's like I like playing around. I'm like, yeah, I need so much less food than I thought I did. It's just you're in a pattern. You're in a pattern of need. Like, I need my 3 meals a day or I get angry and I get... No, you don't. You're just thinking you do, and you're thinking that you're going to get... You're not just taking that away. You're being ran by your needs. Your instinctual needs are driving you, and that's not true anymore.
So you move beyond instinct.
Well, you listen to instinct and you don't act on it. So you don't move beyond it because it's still there.
So like you were saying, in spring you get the horny instinct.
Yeah,
like,
it's there.
The instinct, oh man, I'm horny, it's spring.
Right.
So what are you saying, how do we, like...
Go have fun and go get laid.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you don't, but, you know, like, let's say if you were a human animal and that instinct hit you, you're going to just grab the next woman and pull her by her hair, bend her over and have sex with her.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be you operating instinctually.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to have sex. I felt it. I just felt it and I just did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, of course we don't do that because we've got boundaries in places, but it's more about understanding that your instinct needs to be, control is not the right word, but it needs to be honored and understood that it doesn't need to be followed. That's the human animal in me who's not conscious, making sure that you survive. So an instinctual response is very good information to know. My instinct's telling me this. It's time for this. Let me see. Can I fit that in a positive way? Let me encourage my instincts in a good way.
So it's like the monkey mind, people say, or what is it? I just lost out of my brain. The reptilian brain, right?
Yeah.
So all of those instincts that we have when you become enlightened and all those needs are met, you're no longer locked in a cycle of instinct, right?
You recognize the cycle and then you choose around it appropriately according to your values. You know, like maybe porn stars really make their most movies in springtime because it's easy.
right.
You know what I mean? It's like, that's when I want to respond, and that's how I want to respond. It's like to come from a set of values.
So you're still using your instincts, but with choice.
Yeah.
Conscious choice.
You're
not
not
just
letting
like
your
hungry
instincts...
food, need food.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
You're moving out of that. You have to move out of that to be enlightened.
Yeah.
You can't be enlightened and go, yeah, but you know, my body says I need food right now or I can't function. It's like, okay, fine, then get some food. But I mean, you know, you really don't need to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to do that because the way you're wiring yourself, but you're not recognizing that food controls my life like every hour food is controlling my life. Where's my next meal going to come from, and what's it going to be? And it needs to be healthy, organic, no meat, no dairy. No, that's what I take in. You know, and you don't realize that all those things that you can't eat are supposed to be telling you what to do in order to eat them. What do I need to, because if I figure out what's off in my body, then I can incorporate them again. They're just telling me what's a limitation.
It's just there to like for me, I'm lactose intolerant, right? And so, or at least I think, I just eat cheese and I get a bad reaction. So it's telling me there's a function going on.
What's the function of milk? What's the function that my body's rejecting, which is really my belief construct is rejecting, and my body's just letting me know that I'm not in alignment right now.
With milk. And I don't need to be if I didn't want to.
Yeah, you just don't eat milk. I mean, but if you want, then you got to figure it out.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to be without cheese, dude. I'd be all sick. Seriously, I'd be like,
cheese in 3
cry.
years.
Life without cheese like a hug without a squeeze.
Oh, I want my cheese back, Rick.
Well, you already ate the other day, right? And you're like, oh shit, nothing happened to me.
That's right.
But that's why I tell people, don't try to set up a pattern of, I can't eat this, this, and this. It's bad for me. No, it's trying to tell you something. It's trying to tell you something, and you have to learn and disconnect that so you can be empowered in your reality. You don't want part of my reality separating from me. It can't.
Yeah.
I'm separating from it. I'm separating from milk products. I'm separating from these products.
So that's how we actually get intimate with our food, because now you're speaking a language, meaning like the example, that dog running down the road, I wasn't actually engaging in responding in a way where I was speaking the language, meaning if I had received it in the moment with the symbols and knew what was going on, I can now speak the correct language to get the result that I wanted, right? To be able to get the dog.
I try all the time when my baby's crying to just feel him and do the right thing. And most of the time I do. I mean, at first I was like, man, he just wants the titty. That's all he wants. He doesn't care. I can't even figure. And then I was like, no, I can't. I can figure this out. And then I came up with this idea of being self-determined, and I realized, and then I did that, and he's like, now he's coming to me when he's upset. And I'm like, when he wants to come to me, I know he wants something else away from this area.
Yeah.
Because he knows I take him away immediately. I let him know that I will help you be self-determined, and every human being is wanting to be that's why you have free will, to be self-determined, right? So that's why this system, you have to get out of a system that's been created for you. You have to get out of, and like, I'm not here to say get out of the education system, get out of the no, you don't have to get out of the system, but you got to take responsibility for the system and then recreate the system. You don't have to be like, the money system's bad, and the legal system, and you separate from it again, and then you have no ability to change it. You can't change from there. That's the problem. If I think they're doing it to me, I have to create that they keep doing it to me because it's me and I don't know it yet, so it has to persist. Until I can understand what do they mean and what do I not understand and how can I, so that takes a dialogue. And right now everybody's just spitting one dogma at another. Nobody's in dialogue, so they're not even understanding. That's why things are looking worse for a lot of people right now, because the reality has to give them worse before they're going to wake. They're going to have to get to the bottom before they can understand, oh, things are different now. We're not in the same world we were before. Even though I thought we were for a minute there, they'll create the awareness, but they're going to do it with trauma.
Trauma and drama.
And chaos. Because they really don't know how to do it any other way, because they don't know what we're talking about right now. They don't know how to read it. They don't know how to feel it. They don't know how to not separate.
Well, what it sounds like, though, is one of the keys to enlightenment is intimacy then, because you're becoming intimate with every bit of your environment in your life.
Well, that deepens enlightenment. It doesn't have anything to do with enlightenment. But you're being intimate with reality.
Right.
That's, in order to do that, I have to say it's all me. Right? But intimacy itself is a way to deepen love, to deepen being enlightened. Because once you're enlightened, you're like, oh, I need to get intimate with the plant. I need to get intimate with my dog.
So you learn intimacy along the way.
Well, hopefully. You will, because...
How are you going to be able to do this cycle to enlightenment, do this process, if you're not intimate? Because at the willful position when you're in duality...
Well, because first you got to do this, and this will let you be truly intimate.
Oh, okay. So then you know what intimacy
Well,
actually is.
now you start learning.
Yeah.
Because you're like, wow, I have to get closer to everything.
Yeah.
Right? After you do this, because when I'm looking at the beauty, when I'm illuminating when I'm starting to put the unconscious presence, when I'm looking at nature, I'm going to get connected with everything again. It will connect you again. And then you're going to want to be like, oh, if this plant is a reflection of how I love something, I want this plant to thrive. I need to pay attention to it.
Because I know the symbol of what it is, and if it's over in the corner of my house being neglected and dying, there's some part of me
that's
that I'm neglecting
in the corner dying. You know,
Yeah,
and again, sometimes you say, I just put it in that corner because it fit. Well, that happens to be the east corner of the house. You know, you just keep looking for
And what
the
would the east represent?
Responsibility and power, wind, Raphael.
So the area that's dying is my
and
responsibility.
for people that are into angels, the angel of Raphael. Right?
Holy
That
shit.
represents
I want you
wind.
to tell me what all these represent, because I want to go look. I'm going to go home and look at my room and just see like what's
How are
going
you?
on.
Because you think you're unconscious of it, but you still have to create from inside here.
Yeah.
You're creating from the unconscious. Now, if I can give like logic and reason, this is where you bring logic and reason. I got to make this logical and reasonable so I can go farther. You see, you don't abandon logic and reason. You just don't make it empirical.
Yeah, you can use it as a tool, just like
exactly.
anything
It's just a tool, and now I can make sense out of it, and it's great because I made sense out of why I put that in that corner to begin with.
But the way we're using logic and reason now is a way to separate.
Well, yeah, it's minimizing. What's happened is the Renaissance produced a bunch of men who started analyzing the system, which they needed to because the system had come out of beingness. There was no way to recognize the system until they analyzed it, and then they said, this is math, and this is all this. Now it doesn't work anymore. Now you're like, science is too slow, right? The quantum physics is doing it, but they're still too slow. Now you just got to create reality. I'm connected, and it's a reflection of me, and I'm the observer. Let me just run with that and forget if science proves it or not.
Right.
It works.
Yeah.
If I do it, it works.
And
so,
no matter what, you're taking responsibility, so you're going to have a better life.
You're happy and excited, and when you go into a room full of people, you're the happy, excited one in the world that's having, and they're like, wow, I just like being around you. I don't know why. And you in your own mind's like, I know why. Because I'm doing my shit, man. I'm here and I'm being the God being I came here to be. Because you can't start becoming the God being unless you're enlightened. But see, an enlightened person knows, oh, this is where it starts.
But even when you get with that enlightenment, it's just still always a process. Because enlightenment is just a process of growth, right?
Well, it's an awakening to understand what a process of growth is. Before enlightenment, you don't have any awareness of there's a process of growth going on.
Oh, okay.
You just think I'm alive and I'm going to die. That's it.
And it's probably going to be hard along
every
the way.
day I'm dying. I'm not getting better.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm at laws of thermodynamics say every day I am in a state of less.
Yeah, I think it's at 25, age 25, you're down.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's what science said. Great. That's what I want to hang my hat on.
The first time I had my birthday, 25, they said, well, it's downhill from here.
You got a 5-year window because after 30.
Life's over.
Yeah. All these things are just playing out belief constructs that people assume are real, and they just adopted them from somebody else, and they're diminishing me day in, day out, and I don't even know it. Because I believe I got strong boundaries that that's true.
Yeah.
It's not blurry. I can't even get out of that.
Wait, what's true? I lost you on that one.
That after 30, life is over. After 30, you're going downhill. I mean, they even say, right? 30, over the hill.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the laws of thermodynamics are completely incorrect when it comes to nature. Everything is creating more constantly.
So that's why we actually start feeling worse. Like, I'm 35, just turning 35 this year, and it came with a little bit of like a sad, oh man, I'm 35, I'm practically rounded up to 40. So it's only the belief construct, though.
Yeah.
Like if I had a different belief construct, I'm just elevating everything that I'm doing. Like
you unplug the old one, you bop to do it, and now you're feeling great again. And, and you know, people say, "Well, that's just you and your mind." Exactly.
It's you anyway.
That's the only you there is.
Yeah, you got nothing else. We just talked about, you know, enlightenment and the process and what it is, but we see so many examples. Power of Now, Secret is one of the documentaries that talks about. You know, law of
that's
attraction.
the adolescent coming up with a...
Yeah, so just describe some of that stuff, because this is something we see on YouTube all the time, different people...
On this video? You want to put this into this video?
Yeah, I mean, we might not end up on it, but while we're on the subject of what enlightenment is, what are some of the misconceptions about it?
Well, like, the problem with The Secret is it's not understanding that, gosh, I watched that movie so long ago now. I'm not even. I just remember thinking, oh, they're missing the point.
It's law of attraction. It's
yeah.
like,
Well, the law of attraction is saying your thing separate from me, and I need you to come to me.
the example they gave was a genie, right? And I can put my wish out, and then it's gonna say
exactly.
yes, right?
No, it's you're the genie too.
You're the magician.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
Is the genie,
You're
right?
the genie, right? So what's happening is you have to create the reality in here, and then wait for this to materialize. It's materializing from the inside. You're not drawing it towards you. You're not bringing it. It may look like that because that's the way your belief constructs operate, that it's here and then it's just
in
comes.
linear thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you're still in that paradigm and you're still operating there and it's fine. But you have to understand, it's not really like, right now, there's only 3 people in the universe for us right there. You know, maybe you might hear my baby in the background, but where are we? That's it. This is the whole universe right here. You know, everything we need is right here. Everything to operate is right here. You don't need anything out there at this given moment.
So at any point, I could be anywhere. I always have everything I need.
Yeah.
Or not even just need.
That's why you're getting the needs. You have to move past that. If I needed food, I know how to get it. I don't have to worry about where is it coming from and what time is it. It's like you're...
But what I mean is, if I'm the creator of my reality, so right now, my reality that exists in this apartment here, right? Everything in my reality is here.
Even when you look at me, you can't see John, right? John, right?
Yeah, John.
You can't see John back
Hey,
there,
John.
right? It's like you're only here.
Yeah.
You might open up and see that, but now you're blurry and then he's blurry, and you can only create what you're focused on. You can't really create. But let's say I worked on something today. I could turn the TV on. The TVA could say, "Oh, they just solved this big problem today," and I'm like, "There it is." I created it through that medium, but I didn't draw it to me. It didn't come to me. I manifested it in a very creative way.
Right.
You see, and so what happens in the secret of very form, I want a lover to come to me this week, right? And it's like, you know, instead of realizing I'm going to do that, I'm not like waiting for the universe to deliver it.
And I got to be willful.
Yeah, I got to go after it. I got to go out.
So, okay, I'm going to go out and
Sitting here in my Uggs and behind the TV, probably am not going to create it.
on Tinder, like.
Yeah, you know. Probably not. Maybe, maybe still. Maybe the delivery person comes to the house
And they're hot.
Yeah,
and you're like, hey, come on.
How you doing?
Yeah.
You know, but it's what I'm saying. It's you're not really drawing it to you. You're creating it in front of you. It's like when your arm moves like this, it's just the way an LED or TV works. There's little lights lighting up and going off, so possibility is igniting and going off and making it look like my hand is moving. But the same thing is happening in physical reality. There's no movement. There's nothing here. It's just like the TV.
Yeah.
Nobody's in there. Little kids look behind because they're like,
yeah.
But it's not. It's light moving, and that's exactly what's happening.
Light and information.
Light is going on and off right now, and it makes it look like my hand moved. That's the same thing that's really going on, you know? And that's what's funny. Unconsciously, we know that we're creating stuff to mimic what's really happening.
Right. Because that is how a TV works, too. It's flickering.
Yeah.
It's not. It's always going on, off. It's not a continuous stream. And even like
that's why when you film it, it goes ram, because the frequency is off, right?
Exactly.
But yeah, it's like you're not drawing it to you. You're creating it. And so you need to know inside that I need to sit here until I see it, in a sense. You know, you don't want to control the environment because then you didn't receive. You get no sense of accomplishment or no sense of achievement when you control the environment because you're looking for outside validation. And well, if it's me, how can I validate myself with myself when I don't know how to do what I'm going for?
Right.
It'll invalidate you because it won't happen because I didn't know it's coming from the inside. And so I feel invalidated when I try to control.
And then I'm not good enough and I can't do it.
Right, because that's the logic that comes behind it now. My adolescent has to come in and say, because you're not good enough. That's
you didn't get what you wanted because you're not good enough.
I'm not good enough. Okay, good enough. I can be good enough. Let me take another class. You see, and you go down your pattern. You don't recognize, oh, the adolescent's running my life. The adolescent's telling me, and my negative ego combined are telling me I'm not good enough, and I'm buying it because if I were good enough, I would have had it. Duh.
Yeah.
No.
That's
you
linear,
just don't know how to do it yet, and you have to forgive yourself and use the process. Recognize, acknowledge, forgive, make a new choice. There's a process going on all the time. Physical reality is a process. That's why I try to give a process.